Hey everybody, Maddie here with Altcoin Buzz. It's difficult just to keep up, but Bitcoin, here we are on the 17th of November, up above 17K and actually blew past 17K with a lot of confidence, which is nice to see. $17,147 right now at the time of this recording, but we're going to have to update by the end of this video because it changes so rapidly and so quickly. The total market is up 4.1% to $494.99 billion, knocking on the door of $500 billion here, total market cap. Many other projects across the altcoin space are also starting to pick up, although I think that's going to kick in once the Bitcoin hysteria subsides a bit. Just my opinion, but we'll be discussing that more maybe later in today's video and in subsequent videos, of course. Litecoin down back a little bit off that high of yesterday, but for the most parts, this is a distributed capital inflow here. Bitcoin's getting a lot of attention, up 4.6% in these last 24 hours, but you also see a lot of other altcoins which are showing a lot of green right now, up high single-digit percentage points in these last 24 hours, which is great to see. Bitcoin dominance, 64.2%. Altcoin Buzz IO is celebrating, of course, $17,000 Bitcoin on the 17th of November. If this trend were to continue, we'd see 18 tomorrow, 19 in a couple of days, and 20K on Friday. I'm not saying that's how it's going to pan out, but wouldn't that be interesting? And who knows, maybe we'll see an all-time high before then because things are really moving. Again, not to jinx it, but things, I mean, even when things work against us, for example, here on Coindesk.com, you may have heard about how Coinbase actually went down, and that literally happened in the context of us hitting 17K. It almost doesn't matter. FUD now has become something that we're almost immune to. And even if it's an internal piece of FUD, which is actually in this case substantial, Coinbase going down, people just don't care. People are reacting too positively to all the momentum that we're seeing right now. And we do have a lot to celebrate because whether or not we hit a new all-time high this week or this month or this year for Bitcoin, we have all kinds of records that are being broken on the regular. Here on Medium.com, we actually see 9 Bitcoin charts already at all-time highs. Let's go through them. Here we begin with a chart of Bitcoin addresses containing a $10 balance or more. And as you can see, 2020 is progressing very favorably compared to 2018, where we had a relative high of about 15 million such addresses. We're now over at 18 million. Again, $10 balances or more. And this is a metric that lends itself to the idea that Bitcoin is kind of encroaching on that mass adoption territory. More people have at least $10 in Bitcoin than had several years ago. And it's a margin right now of 3 million. Here's another all-time high. Open interest on the CME Bitcoin futures. So this refers to the total value of outstanding contracts that have yet to be settled. And the CME Bitcoin futures product is notable because it's a liquid Bitcoin product at the world's largest derivatives exchange, which investors of all stripes have access to, whether you're in the crypto sphere or not. Unlike a lot of Bitcoin exchanges, the CME is plugged into established clearing infrastructure, what some would effectively call the plumbing capable of moving trillions of dollars around. As you can see, the previous all-time high was recently, actually earlier in this year, kind of tail end of the summer. We're now hitting new daily volume records just below the $1 billion mark. Realized capitalization is at another all-time high. This is an alternative to what we discuss every day in the form of market capitalization. So realized cap is designed to take into account the reality of when Bitcoin changed hands. So instead of pricing every outstanding unit of Bitcoin at the last market price, it prices every unit of Bitcoin according exactly to when they last moved on chain. So this is possible to ascertain because, of course, Bitcoin's ledger is open and is transparent, and we can account for every single coin. As you can see here, we're breaking new records in 2020 versus previous highs of late 2019 and 2018. So the realized capitalization of Bitcoin sits today at about 129 billion. Open interest in Bitcoin options is at an all-time high, and it's not even close. So open interest in an options contract adds up the value of the outstanding or unexercised options. While in absolute terms, the numbers are still relatively low in that we have a lot of room for growth, the incipient but maturing options market tells us a thing or two about Bitcoin today. We can clearly see the trajectory. We can clearly see the very positive direction in which we're moving. In many cases, Bitcoin's value boils down to a relative or even subjective sense of its value versus one's own currency, government-issued fiat currency, especially if you're dealing in a situation where you're facing inflation and those kinds of problems caused by either political strife, instability, or just poor fiscal policy on the part of your government. Here we're looking at a chart of Bitcoin's value against the Turkish lira. And again, this is much more on the subjective side, but if you you're a Turkish citizen and you depend on Bitcoin, this is definitely a positive. It's definitely an all-time high. Again, for the Bitcoin leaning individual, that is going to benefit you. Same can be said for other currencies, maybe other citizens of Iran, for example, Venezuela. So for those Turks that have transferred value out of the lira into Bitcoin, this all-time high chart here is a good one to look upon. Here is another crazy statistic representing effectively an all-time high. It's the number of Bitcoin held by the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. At the time of press, the trust just went over 500,000 Bitcoin. That's not $500,000 worth of Bitcoin. 500,000 Bitcoins, making the trust the single most popular financialized version of Bitcoin. Guys, do be sure to follow Barry Silbert on Twitter if you haven't already, but these guys are the future, if only for this single investment that they have made and that they've been righteously stubborn about. This is going to be big, guys. This is going to be the future landscape of the corporate world, and Grayscale right now is rewriting the textbook on strategy. Kudos to 500,000 Bitcoin in their trust. Unreal. And just to round off the list here, guys, a few other notable all-time highs. You have the stablecoin free float, Silvergate's settlement network, and the growth of crypto native trading as expressed here by active loans of Genesis Global Trading. All of these charts, guys, are all-time highs. In some cases, it's not even close. Again, whether or not Bitcoin reaches an all-time high, in my opinion, it's kind of an inevitability, not to jinx anything, but whether or not we see a monetary value approaching and surpassing $20,000 for Bitcoin, it's almost irrelevant at this point, because you look at all this other great stuff happening in the space. It's like 2017, but it's almost better. There's a different feeling. There's a different timbre to the quality of this emotion. So let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below, guys. But all to say, there's a lot to look forward to. And as can be expected, you have a lot of bullish individuals in this space here. One analyst in particular is giving 4 reasons why Bitcoin's price will hit $22,000 as the next milestone or checkpoint. You can read about this on Cointelegraph.com. But just to kind of wrap it up quickly, the HODL percentage shows investor confidence like never before. That's reason number 1. Funding rates are neutral, meaning the average funding rate of Bitcoin perpetual futures contracts is at about 0.01%, which shows there is a decent balance of buyers versus sellers. And the market is actually not overheated as far as the metrics represent. In terms of supply and demand, Bitcoin reserves are dropping. There is more demand for Bitcoin than there is currently supply. And as we've been talking about, there's been more Bitcoin sold than has been mined. And so supply and demand, the equilibrium has to balance. When you have very low supply and high demand, prices rise. And finally, as we just kind of alluded to a moment ago with Grayscale, but also with many other corporates, institutional accumulation is growing, and it's growing rapidly. In fact, so much so that $22,000 doesn't cut it for Mike Novogratz. He's talking about $65,000 Bitcoin, given the network effect that is currently taking place. We're not going to go through all of this, but I do want to highlight the tweet that you may have seen by Macy Williams, aka Arya, Game of Thrones star here. So should I long on Bitcoin? This tweeted just a few hours ago on the 16th of November, so yesterday. And as you can see here, you have actually quite a few people that voted against this, that suggested no, she shouldn't long Bitcoin. But again, this is the kind of thing that starts to shape the zeitgeist. I'm not highlighting this, for the poll results necessarily. It doesn't really matter what people on Twitter had to say about it, but this gets people talking. For example, Elon Musk here chiming in, toss a Bitcoin to your Witcher. So that network effect is definitely what counts. I mean, think about it, guys. For the most part, the networks, the media, they're still talking politics. Nobody's even discussing or issuing write-ups about Bitcoin. This is very much an organic growth period here, this bull market that we're in. It's not even getting any external support for the most part. And that's where we segue into our next point here on altcoinbuzz.io. Bitcoin is a great store of value, and you have individuals like Macy Williams, but here more importantly, like politicians that are getting behind it. This article by Rachel. Bitcoin is a great store of value according to Cynthia Loomis, an incoming senator from Wyoming. So Wyoming's elected Senator Cynthia Loomis speaks live on ABC News about Bitcoin. This is where you're starting to get that mass interest in terms of at least introducing the topic to the public discourse and the public discussion. A very, very interesting first step. And, versus 3-4 years ago, for many of us that were in this space, I think we're also starting to feel that it's not taboo to talk about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency anymore. Altcoin altcoins, it's another story. We'll get there one day, let's be honest. But Bitcoin right now is a very hot topic. I think people want to be part of that conversation. So kudos to Cynthia Loomis. She may be, I shouldn't say the first. She's among the first, but she certainly won't be the last. And of course, first comes interest in Bitcoin, then comes interest in perhaps some of the secondary, even tertiary projects out there, such as the Ethereum, such as the Litecoins. And then you're going to have the altcoin boom that will follow this Bitcoin bull run. So here on CoinDesk.com, as DeFi grows, investors look to Polkadot to be the next Ethereum for all kinds of reasons. This is something that if you at all believe in Polkadot, you should probably check out, just because there will be a time for the Polkadots and the altcoins of the world. Right now, Bitcoin is certainly getting the bull share of the attention, the lion's share of the incoming capital inflow, but that's going to change. And we saw that in 2017, I should say, the end of 2017 when Bitcoin peaked. We saw that the altcoin markets kind of rallied in 2018, really simultaneously with the decline of Bitcoin. So not to get into this right now, but if you're a Polkadot fan, we realize there are many DOT fans out there in the Altcoin Buzz army. Check out this article. We'll link to it below. But again, after Bitcoin, next comes altcoins, and Polkadot is certainly a contender, as is Sharing. We want to alert you guys to a couple of updates here. Sharing and Tencent Cloud debut world-class innovative travel app and Sharing ID, leveraging cloud and artificial intelligence technologies. Read the blog here. Our partnership with Tencent Thailand has been reported in the South China Morning Post, as well as Forbes Thailand. You can read more based on the links that they provide here. So South China Morning Post, Tencent's cloud tech helps blockchain firm manage digital records to get people traveling again amid COVID-19. So blockchain company Sharing will use Tencent cloud services such as OCR and facial recognition to help travelers in Asia using digital identification. And Southeast Asia has been especially hard hit during the COVID-19 pandemic, as many borders still remain closed in countries heavily reliant on tourism. Okay, at the tail end of this video, we're going to suggest to you guys a couple of ways you can perhaps get into cryptocurrency trading at really the practice level. You can rehearse some of your trades and learn the mechanics without risking any of your hard-earned coin in the process. And there are a couple of new services that have now opened up in response to so much of the demand that is out there. People want to learn how to use derivatives trading, how to use futures trading, options, what's the difference between market limit orders, how do you stop loss either on the way up or the way down, how do you buy long, how do you sell short. All of these things can be a little bit overwhelming to the newbie that's entering the space, but that nonetheless knows a little bit about the technology, that has confidence and wants to invest one way or the other. So here on coinspeaker.com, NewsCrypto launches new Trading Simulator 2.0 tool. So NewsCrypto has launched its Trading Simulator tool earlier in the year, which allows users to get hands-on experience trading cryptocurrency markets with zero risks by using play money to open trades using live exchange data. So now NewsCrypto has launched an updated version of the tool known as Trading Simulator 2.0, which allows users to easily feel their way around the wide variety of crypto markets and trade them just like when using a real exchange. So you actually start with a demo balance of $10,000, and you can easily check your trading performance by looking at your equity. If you're net negative, your equity will be lower than this starting value, whereas if you're net positive, of course, it will be higher. Once you're able to consistently bring your demo equity to above its starting level, you're essentially confident that you can fare similarly well in the real and the live markets. And if you run out of demo balance, you will be able to recharge it using NewsCrypto Coin or NWC tokens to buy credits. And these credit packages start from just 1,000 NWC, currently around $2, thus giving you 200 credits worth of demo funds to play with. CoinGape also covering the story here. Is this the safest way to learn to trade cryptocurrencies? And of course, guys, there are different ways you can learn. You can also shadow individuals. You can copy trade other successful traders. But at the end of the day, even if you share in their profits, that doesn't necessarily help you to learn any of the mechanics that they utilize. So again, through NewsCrypto's trading education platform, beginner traders can learn about a wide range of trading related topics, starting from, of course, the basics right up to the more advanced trading strategies and market theory. And they'll also be able to get to grips with the myriad different indicators and market analysis tools offered by the platform, which can prove instrumental in spotting profitable trading options ahead of time. And by completing all of the NewsCrypto Academy courses, NewsCrypto users can unlock a week of free premium memberships on the platform, which allows them to access numerous tools otherwise reserved for paid members, including the arbitrage tracker, sentiment indicators, and whale alert tools. Here on CryptoDaily.com, good demo trading can create an optimal user experience for crypto newcomers. And I guess ultimately the message here is just that, there's a lot of attention that's coming into the space all of a sudden as Bitcoin is again beginning to approach some all-time highs for not only 2020, but of course its entire history. And if you're new to the space, if maybe you're into cryptocurrency or tech, but you're not a trader, that's okay. It's certainly not too late to, turn a profit and to kind of take your passion, take your interest here and make some money along the way. So this article more or less highlights the advantages, again, of copy trading that I mentioned earlier. And to be fair, there are some advantages, but again, the disadvantage is that you're not learning any of the underlying mechanics just by copying somebody else's trades, successful as they may be. So there are some options that you may want to avail yourself of here on CoinGape.com, where to experience demo trading, crypto's pre-game warm-up. Here specifically, they highlight their top 5 demo trading platforms, beginning with BitMEX and eToro, particularly with eToro, which has pioneered the whole copy trading phenomenon. But we want to highlight a new one here that you may not have heard of before, BingBon. So when a new user registers with BingBon, their exchange wallet is automatically filled with a bounty of 100,000 BST, or virtual USD, and each token represents $1 and is the native currency of BingBon's demo trading platform. They currently have 12 digital assets available for trade, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Chainlink, Cardano, and many other major coins for the most part. Besides cryptocurrencies, BingBon also offers access to Forex, commodities, and other popular instruments in financial trading, including the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, DJIA, and Nikkei 225, as well as copy trading. So demo trading on BingBon can be used hand in hand with TradingView's visual analysis tool, which allows users to chart and graph trading strategies in greater detail. Of course, the user interface is compatible with 7 different languages, including English, Chinese, and Russian. We have a little bit less information on these last 2 guys, but you can also check out Altcoin Fantasy and Bitsgap for more information. I'd say shop around. If, again, you do want to get into the trading game, as we always caution you, be responsible. If you do make a trade, almost have the assumption, and not financial advice, of course, but I think it's good practice generally, always have the assumption that you're going to lose what it is you're risking. And if you're comfortable with that loss, in a sense, that's a good barometer to determine whether or not you should be risking anything at all. So again, here are the top 5 demo exchanges, or demo platforms, I should say, that you can use to practice trading. And look, it's not all that difficult. I think there's a lot of kind of smoke and mirrors in this space, and maybe it looks more intimidating than it actually is. The best way, as with anything, is to just get in there, get your hands dirty, practice. Once you're comfortable with a couple of the mechanics, you don't have to learn them all, certainly, but once you're comfortable with the mechanics that you'd like to master, you can kind of, try your hand at the real thing. But there are a lot of great options out there to practice and get that experience. So best of luck. Checking back in on the price of Bitcoin at the tail end of this video, we've gone up a few dozen dollars, 17,211.56. So the trajectory is certainly upwards, that's for sure. But that about wraps it up for today, everybody. Do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media networks, and keep checking into altcoinbuzz.io for all the latest. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell, of course, to receive notifications if you guys enjoyed this video. Best of luck if you do choose to invest. Best of luck if you choose to avail yourself of some of those practice platforms and those trading platforms. Again, just for demo and practice purposes, every little bit of practice helps until such time that you feel confident you can launch into it for real. So best of luck if you do choose to use those. Stay safe out there, everybody. And as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.